till the French UFO flap started in 1954, that researchers started to take a little bit more seriously, the UFO occupant sightings. Before that, again, these reports would get thrown away because they were just too crazy. Now, if you consider that UFOs may not necessarily be nuts and bolt spacecraft from another planet, but maybe something else, maybe interdimensional, then you have to consider that if this is something that is coming from another reality, it may not be three-dimensional. It may be a fourth dimensional type of thing, and you would only see a part of it as it enters into three dimensions. A good example would be, if you were a fish in a fish tank, and your owner stuck its finger into the top of the water, the fish would only see, the tip of your finger as it comes down, gets a little bit bigger, and then disappears again. It can't see or even conceive what else is behind that tip of the finger. And it could be a very similar situation with UFOs. We are only seeing a small part of it as it enters or even is just, going in between different realities.
That is a possibility. But, I keep thinking what Bruce Maccabee said. He sat there and analyzed some of these, like the 2004 Nimitz thing. He said, now, James, do you remember, I think he said that the G's force would be around 500 and some G's. That's enough to liquefy in anything biological. Yeah. And so whatever is in these things can't then be biological unless they have something inside that spacecraft to prevent them being liquefied. I mean, the turns that they're made, the dropping down to the ocean at the speed and coming to a stop and then accelerating, anything, biological wouldn't survive.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, and that's one of the things that Corso said, was that these creatures, these biological entities, had been created specifically to be pilots of these ships. That they were made up in a way to withstand the forces that traveling through space or time, or what have you, would put upon them. But as you said, even you would think that a created biological entity would end up splattered against the spaceship wall under those sorts of conditions. The way that these ships operate in our atmosphere, it's like they're in a reality all their own. The way that they fly around, appear and disappear. Make right-angle turns. The Navy pilots, they reported that, they would see these ships or craft or whatever they are, miles away, and then in a blink of an eye, they were almost on their wingtip.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah.
It's very scary. So, are these things actually flying as we're thinking of flying? Moving through space, or is there something else going on?
That's the whole problem. We can only speculate. We don't know. The whole thing about the UFO thing, we can only speculate. The average person, I can't speak for whatever the government has in a warehouse somewhere and what they know technology-wise, but from an average person, like some people think they're coming from, like I said earlier, parallel universe, coming from, like a time machine, or are they aliens and they're coming down here for a reason? We don't know. I just will say this, James, just for you. I don't think they give off orbs. And people that are supposedly being abducted, I think they're, I'm thinking about all these people that claim that they've been abducted. It's so many of them, Tim, that it is shocking. And I can't see if they're just implanting, abducting a certain amount of people. But we're talking about tens of thousands of people in the last few years are claiming that they've been abducted. Why would they abduct people and implant them? I think after all the years of implanting, they should have all the information they want, unless there's another motive behind it all.
Well, but you're looking at that in a human perspective within a human lifespan. If we're dealing with something that has been working with us or whatever, with humanity for a million years, then we're just seeing a small aspect of whatever is going on within our lifetime. And I suspect that this is a phenomena, and this includes the abduction phenomena, that has been going on since maybe even before we fell out of the trees, in Africa. Maybe they pushed us out of the trees, and I think that whatever is going on follows family lines, because if you have one member of a family who reports being abducted and implanted or whatever, chances are that there'll be other members and grandparents, great-grandparents, all the way back. Even though, you go far enough back, it's not aliens. I saw the devil, or I saw an angel appear and take me up to heaven. As time changes and our social conditioning changes, people don't believe in angels and demons anymore. Now we consider the possibility of extraterrestrials, and that's what these things are. 200 years in our future, if this process is still going on and it is still unknown to us, then it will probably take on the form of whatever social conditioning is going on 200 years in our future.
Do you think we're going to make it another 200 years with all the earth changes going on?
I hope so. I really do. I mean, I try to have faith that humanity will not destroy ourselves or blow ourselves up or whatever. If we don't if we don't blow ourselves up, there's a chance that the earth may just go and shake us off like a dog shakes fleas off of itself. I think that could be a better possibility than us killing ourselves in some kind of devastating war. We talk about like pollution and climate change and everything like that. Well, again, we're looking at all of this within the human perspective, within the human time frame. Planet Earth will recover just fine and go about its business with or without us. And so we have to learn how to work with planet Earth so that it doesn't just shake us off and bring in the next whatever intelligent species will arrive if we're gone. Dolphins or maybe cats.
Yeah, they might be. There's a famous scientist, I can't remember if it was Norway, Denmark, a couple days ago, said that cannibalism is going to happen here in the near future. And he basically said there's nothing wrong with it but eating the dead. Because you remember Charlton Heston, that movie they made, Soylent Green?
Soylent Green, yes.
Yeah, this professor was saying that by 2050, the Earth won't be able to support feeding us. The water will be in almost in huge demand because there won't be enough water for humans. The earth is going to be pretty much flooded. So he said that there's nothing wrong with eating the dead, and it was kind of a bizarre story that some professor would come out and say this, but I'm not trying to do, paint the world as being, where we might not be around much longer, but I have 8 children. They're all adults, but I got a massive amount of grandkids, and I'm looking at Antarctica. I'm looking at the belt that goes from the equator to the UK. It keeps the UK, Europe from freezing. It's almost stalled at this point. I think a lot of things are going on. And then I was reading, too, by 2040, 2050, water is going to be very short supply. Food is going to be short supply. And then, a lot of areas are going to be underwater. And the ocean is going to be so polluted by then that even sea life isn't going to live. You got Japan. It doesn't matter when. They're going to dump billions of gallons of radiated water into the Pacific Ocean because they can't store it much longer. What's that going to do to, the human race? I mean, it's scary, the future. So I don't know, what is going on with UFOs, if they're here to maybe serve man, help us, or just watch, or who knows? Maybe they're waiting for us to destroy the planet so they can come and take it over. Who knows?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I kind of like the time machine angle, the time travel angle of UFOs. I mean, it kind of gives me hope that we do manage to survive far enough into the future to create time machines to come back into the past to do whatever it is that we're doing. I look at the new generations, and it does give me some hope, where you see these these kids who are very concerned about the environment and what we're doing to the planet, and of course I also remember that when I was a kid, there were the same kinds of movements, but unfortunately. With each generation, you have to go up against politicians and corporations who care about nothing else except that almighty dollar, and the heck with the environment. We have money to make, and we have stockholders to keep happy. But I put my trust that. Into the new generations that we will be able to overcome at least the current problems, but who knows what the future brings and what new problems will arise. That's unfortunately that's something that our great grandchildren will have to face and will have to face. And hopefully that they won't look back at us and shake their fist and curse us.
They will. They're going to.
What we've been doing.
We're going to. Like the EPA has been stripped. Yes. All the, things that have taken how many presidents to protect our land, protect our water, put on regulations, even they want to strip California, for emissions, saying you don't need emissions for California on cars and, stuff anymore. It's just a waste of money. It's scary the way things are going. It's like they don't care about the future. And maybe they know what the future is going to be like. So they're not fighting, anymore. They're just, hey, it's nothing we can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and it just goes to show you, though, how easy it is to get rid of all of these the laws and the safety nets that have been put up over the years to protect our water, protect our air, protect our land, and with just the stroke of a pen. It's just all gone.
Yeah.
And so how long will it take to correct those errors?
That's the scary part.
Go back. Yeah, to go back to the way it was.
Now, Tim, why don't you tell people about your podcast where they can tune in to it and all that? Because we only got like 2 minutes left here.